we're going to go ahead and get going just in an effort of time because I had this little thing with the board meeting tonight. So it's Reiner and we've had meetings all day. So thank you for being a part of the committee. I salvaged 2 muffins from this morning's meeting. So if any of you have a hankering for a muffin, they're right here. Know that, okay? So kind of the focus for those of you that are new with the Havre Public Schools Education Foundation Committee is last year, as we kind of navigated this process, if you turn to the second page in the packet that I gave you, we kind of went through, and on the doc that I sent you, you probably looked at the strategic plan. You could link off that and kind of look at this. Since we ended up having 2 meetings in the same space, which we weren't necessarily anticipating.
Oh, sure.
We're up here with the camera, so I'm glad I sent you that ahead of time. Typically, we'll be in the banner room, so we have to move this with board meeting and all that kind of jazz.
Yep.
So then we can just work through the Google Doc right there and type in everything, and that will be good.
Yeah.
But is what it is tonight. I see we got Jane coming in. There she is, Jane, line 1.
Hey,
You
I'm
made it.
still in the meeting downstairs.
Oh, you
You
did not
made
see a part of CTE?
I don't know.
Neither.
Ah,
Jane, there you go, and a pen. A
Okay.
packet and a pen.
thank you.
You're welcome. So I was just kind of going through and explaining kind of the focus with this, Jane, and letting the group know typically we'll always be in the banner room.
Okay.
So we can just work off the Google Doc in there.
Okay.
That's why you'll see like in your packet it has that outline.
Okay.
Like when I say those documents, probably look at the strategic plan ahead of time.
Yeah.
But with this, what we decided last year for the foundation was we spent some time building an action plan on what are we about, right? Like, so what are the things are we going after? So when you kind of look through the action plan, you can see the things that we kind of came up with that were important, that we feel like we need to accomplish during this time. And then what I thought today was we would, if you go back to the front page, it talks about the previous year's action plan. So maybe just take a moment, kind of catch yourself up to speed with that. We'll kind of read through there. Kyle is back in the executive director spot for the foundation, so.
No, not an ED, chairman.
Yeah, but we
Don't give me the ED title.
But how this typically works is we pair it with the same night, right? So like we'll have our meetings here, and then Kristen Heilman, who typically will be joining us, she and I go into then the board meeting for the foundation, and then I'll kind of give a report of what we're working on in the committee, and we kind of go from there. So does that make sense? Okay. So we'll just take kind of a few minutes and kind of read through that so we're back on the same page.
So is this last year's strategic plan or this year?
This is the action plan, and then that link that was up at the top actually has the district strategic
Yeah,
plan.
no, I
Yep.
read that out.
Yep.
Through all the rest
Yep.
of this stuff.
So this is what we kind of closed with last year.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, so, cause I'm like, these dual enrollment, dual credit things are huge.
They're huge.
I'm a huge proponent.
Yes.
My daughter got to her advisor at Carroll College,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, what school did you come from? And she told him, and he's like, man, they got it together.
Yeah.
Do they accept all our dual
She
credit?
has 35 credits.
Nice,
So
they
that's
took it
the
all.
same with Lindsay was like that too.
Yeah.
Well, Lindsay doesn't surprise me because she went to Northern.
Yeah, she was like I told you,
Carol
we
took them
couldn't,
Good.
she kind of wanted to, but we were like,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
with the
Yeah.
nursing,
Yeah.
it was just a no-brainer for her, so I
So
had her
I
sent.
wish the brain was no brainer for her too, because this bill is a little.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is her place, so she's,
Yeah.
but I
She's
just
doing
wanted to, man, she loves Carroll College, it's the greatest thing ever, every student.
My
she ever
brother
runs
went there and
into,
he
go to
loved it.
Carroll.
It's a good school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and, but I just I'm like, seeing that might be something that's in jeopardy, I definitely would,
Yeah.
be a huge advocate.
Well, and it's not that it's in jeopardy, it's
Our ability. to
the
continue to
economic
move
barrier for some students because
100%.
if parents have got to pick it up, there's some parents that can afford to pick up the credits and will pay for it because they want their kid to do it. But it's the
Well,
equal
it's
opportunity
cheaper.
for all students. So,
Yep.
so what we've talked about doing is doing a scholarship program for those kids that maybe their families can't pay for it. And then others, if we make enough if we have enough, we
Yes.
can open it to everybody, but.
100%.
But
What does it cost a high school kid to take a dual credit class? I know it costs
You're
nothing
nothing.
now, but what does it cost the district, like like you take a 3 credit
I
class?
thought Kresge told me it was 100 a credit or
That's
around
what
100
Mike
a
said, it
credit.
was 100
I think
credit.
it's, I
He
think
said
it's
even-
actually, we gotta deal with it.
I think it's
a-
150 for the 3 credit class.
If you
Oh.
take it like in the summer,
Mhm.
so like Roma took the English class in the summer, so then we had to pay for it. I was like, could you avoid it?
You're right.
And like, we could have got that for free too, right?
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so in the summer, it's like 150.
Mhm.
What I've been trying to work out with Jen up at the college for Northern is to say, and they're looking at maybe offering it at $65 a class. which-
That's a 3 credit class is $65.
For three.
And see,
Just because we've now given them so much enrollment and so much, so we're trying to kind of navigate a price break on this, because like Krasky talked today, we then, so last year, we got 47,000 for the high school for dual credit, dual enrollment, right? We've already spent that, and I think he said, what, like 50, we're like 55, 56 right now, the bill for the year for our high school kids. So we're looking at then different, funding to obviously offset that. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll pay it this year, but like I told Dustin, I said, either we need to find as this thing grows, which is awesome, but I said, even if we charged our families, like, let's say we paid a portion, we charged them $35, $50.
I know we
Nobody's
would've- I
gonna
know we
balk.
would've.
Nobody's gonna balk at
Yeah.
that for a
Yeah.
college level class.
I was
ever.
actually prepared to pay that, because I used to work at the college, so, I mean, I know the dual enrollment was $150. I don't know, they might have raised it by now, but, yeah, for a 3 credit class, I was prepared to pay
Well,
that.
and Mike kept
which
bringing
is-
his checkbook because he
Right.
thought there was added money
Right.
probably when you were in school. There
Yeah,
was
I know my
probably
parents
a
paid for
few-
me to take a dual credit
Yeah,
class.
and so and he goes, Jane Kresge says it doesn't cost anything, so.
Well, and the other barrier, the tuition is one barrier.
Yeah.
The other barrier is the books,
Mhm.
because they have to purchase their textbooks
Gotcha.
for the class. And I about cracked when I found
it's
out
bad.
how much.
Oh, yeah.
So Rachel took medical terminology, and I think it was 150 for the textbook.
That's probably
So we
cheap,
have
too.
to, and it is now, when you look at her nursing books, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
They're 250 a whack, and she's gotta have 2 for one class. I'm like, youch.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, everybody's focused on paying the tuition.
Mhm.
But if the parents can't pay $150 for tuition, they won't be able to pay $150 for a book. Right? And so some of these classes, we might be able to, work with the university and see if there's a way to get a textbook that can be checked out at the library.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, just have it
Yeah.
on. But that's the other part of that people tend to forget about, is
Oh, yeah.
you still gotta pay. And her medical terminology was more expensive because it had a disc that went with it. So you had to purchase the textbook
Right.
new every semester,
Right.
really. It can't be sold as a used book.
Correct.
And so for those things, if there were a way to find, I mean, it's one thing just to pay the tuition, but that it's not gonna help
Correct.
fully,
Correct.
right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'll still be the barrier.
Or updating our library and having them check that out.
Right,
I know Lindsay got a book from somebody
Yeah.
at school.
Right.
And we passed it on to somebody else. They said
Mhm.
to pass it on to
Yeah.
somebody else.
yeah,
Yeah. Which is all really good things.
yeah.
Tim Shealy's daughter.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had to pass on a book or two.
There you go. Yep.
And you can for the gen ed classes, like
Yes.
English and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yep.
And they're different at Great Falls College than they are here.
Mhm.
That's the other
Mhm.
kicker, was that Rachel took quite a few of her credits through Great Falls College
Mm-hmm.
instead of here.
Yep.
And so,
Yep.
textbooks are different there too, so.
Yeah.
It's just something that.
No, it's- that's a legitimate
We're
concern.
going
It's all-
through,
right,
because
it's all
there's
basis.
there's not really
Mhm.
you gotta have both, or it's not gonna be real helpful.
That's it. No, agreed, 100%. 100%. So kind of with this, Kyle, and feel free to chime in.
Mhm.
as we looked at then, just so you know, kind of where we're at this year at Havre High School, we're sitting probably about 10,000 over that we get from that. So that, you know, when we kind of put down like the budget down here, 60,000 project total, like that would cover, right, the piece with this. But like Tracy's saying too, there's potentially other options. Now you'll see from the state, they pick up the first 6 credits.
Yes.
Right, so that's covered, so that part's nice moving forward. But where we kind of were looking at too is to maybe be able to offset is provide families that can't afford it with like a scholarship fee, so the foundation is gonna go out and try to raise funds to offset costs. Because like I told Dustin, as we move forward, I mean, even if we went to that $50 per class, which is of course a screaming home run, the families that couldn't afford could just, we would, you know, set up like paperwork to scholarship through the foundation, and then we would have that covered, and life would be good. So how do you feel about that piece?
That seems fine to me because we've got 15 grand right now committed to it.
Okay, fabulous.
So the foundation's committed. We had a donor come in unexpectedly and left us a pretty good chunk of money. So the board decided that we wanted to commit at least 15,000 to the dual credit from the foundation itself.
Put that in my notes then.
Because that'll help us go out and raise more money. Because we can tell people we've got 15 grand of our own money into it. And we're not gonna hamstring ourselves by doing that. We're okay financially because we've got about 50,000 sitting in an investment account right now that we can go pull without penalty. So we can pull that because we've got staffing issues. So we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do staffing wise. Because I can't work 4 jobs. So
Step to pull off and do the
yeah, I'll do a good job. So what we sat down and did is I gave you the letter and I gave you the list of foundations. We thought we'd start with Montana foundations or Montana that have Montana ties.
Okay.
And I highlighted a few in here. I forgot one you can add in there. I forgot Brown and Kimball. So I put Brown and Kimball Foundation in there too. And that one, I've got to do some research on the board because both the heirs, and I don't know which of the Cowans are still alive, but they all live here. But Brett and Lisa are both Havre High grads.
Okay.
And so, and education's a big thing. Then Brown and Kimball gave us 10 grand so we could start the FFA program. So that's how FFA got their initial funding, was through Brown and Kimball. And we haven't asked for a couple of years, so we're gonna go back to them. But I highlighted, so the first one I highlighted is, I'm gonna sit down with Arlene from the Northern Foundation and visit because the amount of credits we are giving Northern,
I'll grab this, keep going.
you're finding the FTE that Northern is making off of what our dual credit is sustaining them right now, because they've only got about 800 students, and a lot of their FTE is Havre High kids. So we're gonna have a conversation about the Northern Foundation, at least either joining us in this deal or giving us access to their donor list, or them just making a flat out donation to this initiative from their foundation. So that we're gonna go there. Hill County Community Foundation, those will come open later this fall. That's it's not a huge amount of money, but if we can pick up $1,000 there, which I would think we'd be able to, that's pretty easy. That's an easy thing to fill out. Northern Montana Healthcare just makes sense. Their foundation, go ask their foundation if they want to designate it so it just goes to kids that are looking at taking health, science classes or health field classes.
That was
Yeah.
a big thing with Lindsay being a CNA, that they were giving her money to go
Yeah.
to Northern for that.
So we'd be more than, that's fine. If they want to restrict those dollars to just kids, that's easy because Kraske and Nitz will know which kids are enrolling in health affiliated fields, and we can use the money for that. So that it's just, with Moses, it might be a little bit of a tricky thing, but we can figure it out.
Well, and I think on that same vein, while you're talking about healthcare, just because it is so, a lot of our students go into healthcare is look at benefits.
Right.
Yes, and they have a
They
big
have
thing.
a program specifically through Carroll College that's gonna pay for the last 2 years of Rachel's school, so.
Okay.
They really are, and they have like incentives to come work for them and do that
Right.
kind of stuff, and so I think that benefits them, especially because they're just in Great Falls, they're close.
Right.
Right, and so even kids can even go down and work for the summer, or it's, you know, they don't want
Right.
to move from Havre, they wanna, you know, they can, I've got a friend that works in the emergency department down there and lives here. Like,
Really?
she goes down 3 days a week and
Yeah, I've got a
works in
sister-in-law that
emergency.
does too.
Yeah, right.
I was gonna say, your sister-in-law's still working in Great Falls,
Yeah.
isn't she? Yeah.
Would it be
So-
too much of a reach to even ask, like, I don't know, do we have kids that go and, I don't know, work at community medical in Missoula, or?
I mean, I can look, we can ask, the worst they can tell us.
That's what I was thinking, if you reached out to all the.
Well, we were looking at first, we were looking, Northern because it's here.
Right.
We wanna go to those other ones, but Todd and I were talking, and the board's been talking, that it may be a stretch for us to try to be able to sell it
Yeah.
to their foundation, so, whereas the hospital is an easy
Yeah.
sell, because they're here.
Yes, yes.
And I think benefits would be too.
And benefits probably would be too, and
I
benefits
think you're
wants to
right.
get out here, so I don't have a problem going to benefits.
Yeah,
But, so that's why, and then BNSF, just because it's here, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And we haven't asked BNSF for a gift yet, so
oh,
there's one little hiccup with that I worry about, and we'll talk about that, because what we need to work on this year as part of this committee is going to be a big project, so.
Another one you could ask for, because we do have Native Americans who come from Rocky Boy, who
Right.
do the dual credit, is Stone Child.
Don't brush.
Oh, okay, Stone
You
Child,
know what
okay.
I'm saying? So-
I didn't realize Rocky Boy students were coming into Havre to do
well,
it.
and that might be a good, maybe talk about, can the IEFA funding be used for that? I
That's a
don't
good
know.
question.
I don't
Well,
know
see,
the
that's
answer,
where-
But we're always talking about how to.
But see, that's where the Arthur and Blank Foundation comes in,
Oh, okay.
because Blank is they're very into DEI.
Yeah,
And so, I mean, IEFA is baked in DEI,
yeah.
and by our state constitution. So they're very big in it. They're the ones that took the Washington Redskins out to Rocky Boy to do a football camp.
Yeah,
And the Falcons, which he owns, were out at Box Elder doing a football camp.
yeah.
So that's one that we'll probably ask. And I put some others on here. The Hill County 4-H Foundation would be the other one, because we have a ton of 4-H kids that are at Havre High.
Yeah.
And 4-H covers so much that want. The issue is, and then I asked all these, like Red Ants Pants, when we ask them, if we go ask them, it's gonna have to be women only.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's gonna be an issue we're gonna have to work with Moses on. Is if we're gonna do this and we get the money, but the donor wants to restrict it to female students only, or restrict it to students that are taking health affiliated fields classes, we're gonna figure out how Moses can do that easily for the books. Cause I don't wanna make his life hard. But they're arguing, donors will say, yeah, we'll give you the money, but here's the restrictions we want it. Okay, we can honor those. We just need to figure it out. So there's, and then there's others, Count Pump, Washington Foundation, things like that. The issue is, Stockman's got a foundation too, through the bank, and I've thought about asking them, but here's my issue. Is I think they're gonna be better, because one of the things we've gotta work on this year in this committee is putting a capital campaign together to replace the gym floor at Havre High School. Because it cannot be sanded down anymore. It's been there since 1965, since it opened. This is the 51st year.
Hasn't it been fixed a few times?
It's been fixed a few times, so I can tell you this in terms of large scale projects. So we're probably sitting where yearly we go over there, right?
Right.
And we do our thing and we put the floor and stuff. So that large scale, that will last for a while.
Right.
So we've got some years in the game, but that's one, like if you go to that front page, is to say, in that, next sanding down, which floors on that can go anywhere from like 6 to 10 years in terms of
Right.
on a floor before you need to kind of get back to that. So is that still an adjustment? Is that where we want to kind of funnel if there's a large scale effort? And what we tried to do with this, just so the group's on the same page, was what are the immediate needs, right, that we have, and then what's kind of the long-term needs that we have. So those immediate needs were dual credit, and then helping out, like Jane, like when you did with your
Well, that's
labels.
why I said I would be on this. I
Yeah.
really did appreciate
Yeah.
that.
And if you want to do it again, we
So
probably
those,
fund it again.
Yeah.
so those classroom type budgets, to kind of help facilitate and add money into those. So when you put in a request for Legos and stuff, they're able to pick that back up. But is the gym floor, do we all feel that in terms of the big scope of projects that we have out there? Because something like that also allows the foundation time to put together the resources then to do that. So you have
That's
to
a
have it
full-on
drawn.
capital
When
campaign.
Yeah.
did they put the, whatever, new floor in or what they have now? When did that?
So we redid the gym floor my first year when I got here, 3
Okay.
years ago was when they
Okay.
first redid it. And then we had a couple water snafus, and we had to have some touch-up work done. But, so that was 3 years ago.
Okay.
So I would say we could be looking at before we would need to completely redo that, maybe at the long end, maybe 7 years.
Right.
So does that feel like, and when you redo a floor, like when we redid this one and we resanded and repainted and everything, I mean, it's $160,000 to $200,000 grab on the floor.
How much would a gym floor cost, Mr. Gunn? Well, if it's like a
Well, this
million,
one on here says 500.
If you have to read now, do
700.
like we said, if we can't resand it down and you gotta put in new wood.
Yeah, you're half a
$500,000.
million.
yeah.
But, as we were talking in this committee, that floor gets more of the use than just athletics. All the gym classes are in there, community events are in there. That floor gets used heavily.
Yeah.
So, we have plenty of planks we can go down to raise it long term. It's just, that's gonna be a lot of work because that is a full-on capital campaign. That is not an easy, give us 10,000 here, 10,000 there, that's give us there. And the other hiccup with the floor is we gotta sit down with Jordan and go, so we can go touch anybody. But do we wanna go touch particular people because of what we're getting in corporate sponsorship money from them already? And that's the issue. I mean, I don't want to hit Independence Bank up very badly because I'm guessing Independence, besides the school spirit, gives a pretty good chunk to Jordan. So, things like that. But on the same token, we also are going to need a partner to do like Northern did with Tillman Field, where somebody will hold the loan at 0% interest for 5 years so people can make payments in chunks.
And I want you to remember, Kyle, that we've been doing a lot of things together and a lot of things I've done in my life, that those big donors want you to come to them first.
Right, and we're going,
Most of
that's
the time.
what we're doing, yeah.
Even if you think you've gone to that well too many times, they will be upset if you don't first come to them.
Right.
And ask them for primary sponsorship on
Right.
a project this big. Really. I mean, because that's been my experience, and I've done a lot of fundraising for different things down in Bozeman and up here, and
Right.
they
You'd say
get
they-
very territorial. Like, why did you go to them? I have always supported you.
Right.
Right? So keep that thought process in mind, that we feel like we're asking all the time to these people, right?
Yep.
They'll tell you if they don't have any more money.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's
They'll tell
true.
you, but I will tell you that I have upset a couple of people in my course of all the things I've done by not going and asking them
And first. Well, this is the thing, we didn't even start identifying potential donors yet.
No, I
so
know that, but I
it's-
want you to
yeah.
keep that in mind when you're talking about the different things that you're doing, and
But-
like Stockman Bank might really be like dual enrollment might be a big thing for them because
Right.
they need employees just like
Well,
everybody else does.
I'm not looking
right?
at them from the bank, I'm looking through the
So,
foundations where I'm
I
looking
get
at.
that too,
Same
but-
thing. I get what you're
It's
saying.
all
No, I do, yeah, I get what you're saying,
Yeah,
but
I
I just,
know.
I don't want somebody to, because the foundation gets mixed up with the district a lot. And so I don't want it to happen that we walk in and are going to look for a donation, somebody goes, you're not supposed to contact me because I've already given to Havre Public Schools and you told me you wouldn't contact me. It's like, okay, now I gotta explain why I'm here to
happen, right?
contact you.
I mean, yeah, it certainly could happen. You just have to have the distinguish of the HPSEF
right.
instead of just HPS. So that's one we would have to be cognizant about.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah,
we can probably agree on number 2 on that front page,
yeah,
that that would super appreciate the 15,000 for dual credit, dual enrollment.
yeah.
That part's huge, right? Crass people love this, that'll keep moving forward, fantastic for our kids. And then Kyle, the second one, before we get to then the gym floor, do we feel like we can still, with this donation, then, can we work towards, do we have the ability to help offset if, like, James one, right? Jake Miller, we've got different.
Yeah, no,
people pop in
we'd have,
requests.
yeah, no, if she comes to us and says, I need $500 for a Lego Titanic again, we're probably gonna be able, we're probably
Your
gonna say
nephew loves
yes.
that.
I'm sure he did.
He was like.
I'm surprised they got him to leave after that.
Now,
But,
would you
but,
say that- is that part of the
Jade's
small?
is different, because Jade's is that mid-area, that's a $7,000, $8,000 project for the
Yes, and I
vending
would,
machine.
if I could find somebody to do that, I think that's a really cool idea that she wants.
Oh.
Is it that
Mhm.
The book vending machine.
yeah,
And she wants to do it for the whole district.
yeah,
It just would be housed at Sunnyside.
yeah.
So we're open to that. We've got one board member that's very passionate that we fund it, and if we don't fund it, she's got her boyfriend who owns a business in town and also has access to funding that's probably going to fund it.
Yeah.
But we told her, we said, we gotta develop criteria because we have not developed criteria with the district yet because we want to, because people were asking us for $8,000, $10,000 off the small grant program. It's like, that's not what that's for. So we've got to develop a grant program where it'll probably be like one project a year.
Yeah.
And that's what we're gonna put the
So,
money aside
so
for.
let's say this then, if we look back into the action plan then, so if we kind of skip back into the action plan. then-
Right.
And under that one, that we have for this, for our budget, we had 5 to 10,000 as a starting point. Kyle, do you feel that from the foundation standpoint, we could go up to 10,000? And then in our committees, we can kind of figure out how we would want to break that down and allocate that? Do we
I think
use
we
it
need a-
separately, so we can cover maybe more smaller things, or do we want to say it would be better to go after the
So
larger?
the small grants are fine, they're set up. So
Okay.
if we go up to $1,000 there, that's probably not a problem. I mean, I think 1,000 needs to be the max on that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so small grants, and I'll just put this here in my notes.
But the big project, I say, I would be confident saying we can do 10 grand, that's fine. But I think but the thing is it needs to be a foundation decision, not committee decision.
Yep.
So it needs to be the foundation board making the decision on the project. So, like you
could
talked
say
about.
maybe like one a year.
Yeah, so
Okay.
what we talked about was opening up something, coming up with criteria, opening up the thing. And again, the board's gotta okay all this, and I think they will, but,
Okay.
but it's opening it up so that so that we can have it open up applications in January, February, then we get them back by April, we can vote on it in May, and then we know going into the next school year, they'll have the money they want for this, so they can order it over the summer and have it ready to go for the next school year. That was the thought process behind it.
Okay.
And that's, again, but it's gotta be stuff that's why the building principals have to sign off, because we've had proposals where superintendents in the past have gone, why did they bring that up to the foundation? We have money in the school budget for that. And so it got rejected right away because the superintendent said, we can pay for that. So that type of thing. So that, yeah. No, I think that's pretty comfortable. I think the dual credit, we're gonna be able to make more money. I think we're gonna be fine on the dual credit. The gym, for the gym project I worry about right now, because I think the economic climate right now is not good for a project like that. That is the wrong capital campaign to run right now.
Well,
And the other thing I'm worried about is I think Northern's gonna end up going back out on the Aurora because their buying power is down to about 20 million from the 25 million they got allocated. And I think Kegel's gonna wanna go out and get that money back. And so it's all a timing thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, for us, we're not ready to go. It's gonna take a year or a year and a half to get that put together.
Sure.
So that's not an immediate one, but the dual credit, yeah, like I said, we're gonna go out, and then I wrote that letter. I'm tweaking it. If you guys want to tweak it, feel free to send them back and I'll make changes. But to go out to our alumni base and go out to the public and say, here's what we're doing with Havre Public Schools. Here's what your donation will do. And I said a $300 donation will pay for one kid. So if it's less credits than that, great, that gives us money for books.
Yeah.
And we need to, because here's the thing I'm worried about with the dual credit now that Tracy brought up the books part is I think we can raise money for the credits, but can we raise enough to also help with books? That is one that,
Well, if the dollar amount that you're talking about is $300 per student for one class, and the cost is actually closer to 150 for the credits, then
that gives you 150 for books.
You can then
Right.
fit that in that $300.
I have a question. Could you do this with your letter? I do like your letter, Kyle. But could you put like another sheet with all the students that have gotten dual credit?
I've got numbers from Kresge. I don't think we can put out the
No,
students
maybe
because
not.
of privacy
Well,
rules.
you know what
But
I'm
maybe
saying?
how
I
many?
think that would.
Oh,
be
how
a
many?
little
Yeah,
bit
Kresge gave me
personal.
that. It was, I think total, but last year with all, I think it's in the letter, 1,900 and
I do also think.
whatever credit
that
hours.
Working with donors a lot, I do also think that the personal story
Yep.
is important.
Yeah, that's what
I
I was
agree.
like thinking,
So
like,
find a student like Rachel who has gone to college and
Right.
they have said, if you weren't going into nursing, you would have 3 years of college instead of 4. You just saved yourself at Carroll College $60,000.
Right.
That's it.
Let's be real, right? And it's a huge thing. And so if you could find students that are, you can even just attach a separate sheet
yeah.
Right.
that has like your
story.
the stories.
We can do that.
Because donors buy into stories. They really do. You got to sell the story in order to. So you find somebody like for me, like yeah, it's great for Rachel, but we could have afforded it. So find
Right.
somebody who is like at-risk student or a student that has, you know, financial need that went through, and the counselors at the high school can help you figure out who that might be.
You know, one comes to mind with financial need, but I don't know what his situation was. Coda comes to mind.
Yeah, he did lots of, and
Dual
he
credit, yeah.
definitely would be. And
And
he was
I don't know what the financial situation is there, but.
Well, you don't necessarily need to. All you need
Right.
to do, and CODA is a name that people, if they were at all attached to the school, will remember and know too.
We'll even put in
right?
a picture with him.
So,
with
his
the
picture,
logo.
and he'd be happy, I'm
Yeah.
sure, he'd be overjoyed to do that. And
But
so
to
I
talk
just think-
about how many students each year benefit from that.
Yeah.
And we have those numbers, Lorraine, like
Yeah.
each year we'll have to renew that Advanced Opportunities Grant. So it's between December 1 and January 12th. And so then I get all the data from Kraski and then I get all the data from Kurt, right? Because we have a middle school component with this too. And then I write the grant based on the data and I re-plug in the numbers and stuff. So we have, you know, then the updated numbers that we can support that, right? And they're through the roof. I mean,
Yeah, well, and I gotta rewrite the letter, I just looked 1,918 credits, no 1,918 credit hours, whereas 2024-25 is what Havre High School students earn.
Okay, yeah, and that looks impressive, but what's the story? Again, you gotta tell the story behind that. What does that mean?
Right, it means
I'm
they're
gonna
saving
look
this
at
much for school.
1,918 credits, and what does that mean?
I think we
So
should
you
have
divide
something a
that
little
by
personal with
3,
that.
and you get like, this is how many classes, this could potentially save our students a year of
College.
college.
Well, we've got an easy story to tell, we had kids that graduated with associate's degrees from Havre High School last year. I mean, that's,
That's
the only reason I know that's from the school board
But
meeting.
I really think that that's how you hit home with, they're not, the facts are the facts, right?
Right.
But people will give money to what their heart tells them to.
Right,
And you don't get their heart until you tell them the story
no, I get that,
of the kid that you changed their life,
all right.
right? Which we get all the time, but.
And I mean, and I agree, and I think that helps with foundations too, depending on the foundation, but I know that a couple of foundations I've talked to have told me that we definitely need to tell the story of free and reduced lunch for the entire school district, because that speaks to income inequality, and a lot of foundations want to help with income inequality.
Well, the piece that we have now being the school-wide title and qualifying is
Right.
our kids don't have to pay for meals.
Right, exactly, yeah, and that, they said you gotta put that in your application, because that speaks to the poverty level in the district, so, which, and it does, it really does. Now, where I'm also thinking on the dual credit, can we make a push for the tax credit?
Well, that's gonna be a separate push for the innovative tax.
Right, that's through you, but can some of that money go towards, or not?
Well, I mean, yeah, it could, I mean, we're gonna. when we
Because I think
roll
some
that
people
out,
I think you might get some donors that would do that,
It
because
has
they
to
want
be
the
tied
money.
in, like, to transformational learning, which we could all agree, I'm sure you could weave that into
Dual credit.
transformational learning just fine. So we're actually gonna roll that out at the beginning of December this year.
Okay,
And start putting that, but I think in that language, because there's specific criteria that you have to flag and publicize, I think we could probably do that into there, which would be another good way to bend it, right?
Mhm.
Like, so those are all positives we could add. But we have about 10 minutes left, let's look at So Kyle's gonna work on the letter then for next time. So
Yep.
he'll be working on that.
Well, I will probably send it to you on email because I want to get started with it.
Which is
so.
totally fine. Then we've got, where we were talking about offsetting the class budget, that small grants, we're gonna go up to 1,000, no more.
Yeah.
So that'll be that second piece, and then if we do one large scale effort a year, like up to a 10,000, and Kyle will navigate that through the actual board meeting, so Kristen and I are part of that board too. So we'll be in there, so we'll navigate that part through the board. And then the
Right.
last one that I wanted just to kind of shore up tonight, and then when we meet next time, we'll work on then the implementation plan. So taking this, and then how are we gonna implement it this year and make sure we've got all the pieces in place, is the large scale, that 7 to 10 year project.
Right.
Do we all agree that the high school gym floor would be a good project for that we'd like to go after? Like there's other projects in the district, right? Like
Well, we need
we've
a
got-
new school at Lincoln McKinley.
Right, we've got a historic grant, Jane, just so you know, that I'm gonna work on with Sarah Strissel in February, and Lincoln McKinley is one of the schools that could qualify, same as Robbins. Now that grant's $350,000. Certainly wouldn't touch a brand new school, but it allows you with the $350,000 to do different projects.
Like remodel a little bit.
But, and I don't disagree with you, but I do wonder, and you guys are closer to it than I am, I do wonder if we better wait until January or until the year flips. Because we don't know what's gonna happen with funding when the education department gets fully gutted. And where the funding's gonna come from, because I mean, look at the amount of grant funding you don't have anymore because they've cut it from the grant. Now, the education department's actually taken a lot of the grant funding and reallocated it into like historical black and colleges and universities and grant programs and things like that, but what are they gonna do with K-12? I mean, I'm sorry, but when the Secretary of Education came to Montana and was in Bozeman, not the right area of Montana to be in to get a true feel for Montana. When she came to Montana, they were in Bozeman the whole time. But what's the situation gonna be for the district with federal funding? I mean, are they gonna cut title, are they gonna cut food? I mean, I think if we found a solution for the food service issue, if you lose food service budget with the REMA agreement and then with the producer partnership, I think that's gonna end up being really good. But where is federal cuts gonna potentially, the district, that a levy that we don't know whether if they have to run a levy at the board level when we don't know what's gonna pass, is there a project we need to work on there to go, okay, how are we gonna replace this funding because we need it?
Well, and I think you plan until then, and once you get there and you go, oh, holy crap, this we gotta fix, and it becomes the priority, and I don't think we wait. I think what we do is put in what we want to do, and then at that point say, yeah, that's not now our priority, it's gotta be this right here. Emergencies come up. And so,
Well,
you
and-
aren't gonna know, and yes, we need it on the radar. We all know that this is coming, what's it gonna look like? God save us all, I have no idea. It could be fantastic, I don't know.
Right.
You know, none of us do. And so since you don't have that crystal ball, you just kind of gotta run with it now. And then once you get there and the reality kicks, you gotta go, oh, crap, okay, we gotta take this from here now and move it over there, if we can.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it from a foundation aspect in the fact that how you approach, because, for example, the gym would be a capital campaign. An emergency situation isn't necessarily a capital campaign, it may be, we gotta go figure out somebody who's really nimble and get it figured out. Which is a complete shift, and if we're preparing for a capital campaign and then we gotta shift on the fly like that, it may not be something we can shift on the fly that quickly on.
Well, like school lunch program during, support Fridays, that's an area where we could use some money.
One that also came up, and this might be one just to kind of think about, but I know like Haley mentioned this morning when we were talking about like playground equipment. And just the cost of a slide, right? And so like Jane from
Just
the
get that
Lincoln-
old sheet
the
metal out
Lincoln
again.
standpoint. So another one that kind of came to my mind too, that if you looked at like all three elementary buildings in terms of playground equipment, that could be one that could be kind of a larger scale project as well.
Lincoln's a little better than the other, because we just put new playground equipment over at Lincoln like 2 years ago.
Yeah, but the concrete
Oh, the compound, yeah.
is not good. We've had some kids bang their head off.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's
So
like,
making the playground safer.
Yeah, and you could, I mean, and so maybe let's take this time between now and then to kind of maybe take a look at.
That's a good thought.
Those playground areas and just kind of look and we'll do a little work there. Cassie's typically gonna sit on this committee too, so we can kind of get her input, and kind of go from there and maybe also
much
look
did
at
the
that.
slide
I would, I think when we did it was, I think it was 15, I think we put 12.5 in, and then Scott and Holly found the other 35.
Sheet metal one's looking pretty good right about now.
Does anybody know who secured the funding? Because the city has done all the work in the park, and I cannot imagine the cost of those
Chris.
structures. I mean, was there a grant that they used? Was
I'm
there?
sure Chris Emmett found grant money.
yeah.
But that's the question, where?
Where?
did she get it?
Yeah.
Can we get it for our schools?
Right?
Is
I don't
there
know.
something, I don't.
Similar that we could piggyback
Right.
off.
I think for schools, I mean, I haven't done a lot of research, but I think for schools, it would be easier. Because we're trying to say we're gonna redo a whole playground because we wanna make it safer for our kids and make it safer not only in safe for regular safety, but then we're gonna make it safe for the kids that have hearing issues and, well, hearing issues isn't the word I'm looking for, you know what I'm talking about. the special-
Accessible, ADA accessible.
ADA accessible, yeah, exactly. You know what I'm talking about, the kids that have to wear the headphones whenever they're around because it's too much stimulation.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff. I think that's a pretty easy sell to a foundation that funds education because you're trying to make it a very welcoming environment for all kids.
Yeah. But I think like just the structure at Highland Park alone, I think that could be $250,000 to $500,000
Oh, your structure there? Oh, yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
But like I told our group this morning, I said, it doesn't make sense to me to put it, like, buying a $10,000 slide is like put on a Band-Aid. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like when really, if you're gonna do it right, you gotta do the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, you should know that about your ceiling. Gotta do the whole thing.
But I think that's a good point, but I also think too, I think that's something also that's also something we could get a community campaign behind because I think the community, we've lived here long enough, I think the community would get behind something that we're saying, we're trying to raise money to redo all the playgrounds in our elementary schools. I think the community would say, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and then I would think that maybe Kurt and Haney need some help over there too, maybe with the basketball courts and stuff like that, because I don't know if those have ever been touched since they got put up at the middle school. Those got put up when I was in middle school. So that's just a question to ask them. 'Cause
Tracy,
Michael
could you maybe
won't that
talk
in.
with Kurt and Haney on the flip? Jane, talk with Erica and kind of pick her brain a little bit about playground equipment or updates out there. Haney's got that covered. I'll email Cassie.
Okay,
And then at this next meeting, this will be like kind of where we've got for then the next meeting.
perfect.
As we close out, we can kind of bring some of those thoughts back to the table. Then we'll articulate for that last part of the action plan, what we really feel we want to go after.
Right.
What is the best use of that money going to be for that large scale one, Kyle? And then we can kind of weave that into the action plan. And then you'll know from the foundation where we can, when we work on that executive board, where we can start guiding that.
Yep.
And and I'll put in these other components that we talked about today, so we're all on the same page, the small grant and the dual credit
And I'll get a hold of
I do
you,
like
I'll get a hold of
the
you some Ratliff
Real big.
this week
I
too.
think that's big.
and super big.
Yeah.
What's that? Oh, the dual credit, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, agreed.
So I do appreciate that.
And it goes, I mean, from personal experience, it goes beyond the credits that they're receiving. That, like, I can tell you my daughter is much more prepared for college. She can tell
Right.
you she's much more
Yeah,
prepared
because
for
they've
her
taken
college
that level
classes.
classes. Yes.
Because they've taken those college
I
level
agree,
classes
Tracy.
and her
100%.
peers, she's like, what are they doing? What did they do their whole senior year? Like, they don't know how to study. And they
So
don't
they
know
don't.
how to, and I'm like, well, this is Rachel, who's, you know, a little
When is the
studious
next
anyway,
meeting
but
scheduled
still.
for?
So it's right down here, Lorraine, so 11/18.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. And we'll, like I said, moving forward, we'll just be down in the banner room. And so next time when we're down there, we'll start taking all this information, we'll start plugging it back into the action plan on the Google Doc, and we'll just kind of start putting this all together, moving forward. So appreciate you guys